What if you could see the market's next move before it even happened? Imagine waking each morning knowing which stocks will soar and which will tumble, no guesswork, no risk, just certainty. What if someone built a machine that could do that, turning tomorrow's news into today's instant profits? And what if that machine fell into the wrong hands? Oh! In the city's grey towers lived Lena, a 24-year-old waitress who worked double shifts at the cafe in the downtown square. The rent was high, the student loan bill stacked, and the only money she had was enough to keep the lights on. She dreamed of a future where she could leave the coffee shop behind, but the endless cycle of debt kept her tethered. One rainy evening, while scrolling through a quiet corner of Financial Forum, Lena stumbled on a post titled, "What if you could trade with tomorrow?" The thread was filled with cryptic code snippets and a picture of a glowing, swirling vortex. It spoke of a hedge fund called Astra Capital that had just launched a quantum-driven trading algorithm, the Quantum Portfolio Engine, capable of predicting micro-market moves before the data even existed. Lena, skeptical but curious, clicked on the link that promised hidden simulation of tomorrow's news feeds. Her fingers trembled as she read the brief description. It sounded like science fiction, but the promise of instant wealth was too tempting to ignore. Lena decided to find out more. The next morning, while serving a hurried lunch, Lena slipped the forum link onto her phone. She typed the address into a private window and watched as a sleek interface opened, a screen filled with floating numbers, graphs that spun like galaxies, and a single line of code that read QPE launch. She could see, in real time, the algorithm firing up, its quantum bits humming softly. The screen flashed a headline that hadn't yet appeared in the news. Government unveils new trade incentive. Lena's stomach dropped. Had the algorithm already read the future? She didn't understand the math, but she could see that the market was reacting before the headline existed. Her mind raced. The coffee shop lights buzzed in the background, but she felt a pulse of electricity in her chest. She had to know more. She emailed her old professor, Dr. Patel, who taught her introductory economics. "What's going on?" she asked. The reply was simple. "If you're serious, go to Astra Capital's office. They have a junior analyst position. Free coffee, good exposure, come see." Lena hesitated, but the thought of a stable job and a chance to explore this mystery bulled her. The next day she walked into Astra Capital, a glass tower that glimmered against the skyline. The receptionist nodded at her, a small smile on her lips. The hiring manager, a woman named Maya, welcomed Lena, described the firm's mission to push the boundaries of financial science, and invited her to meet the team. "We're on the brink of a revolution," Maya whispered. Lena's heart hammered. She was now a part of the very story that had once seemed like a dream. Inside a quiet conference room, Maya introduced Lena to Jade, a junior analyst with a keen mind and a quiet curiosity. Jade showed her the Quantum Portfolio Engine, the humming quantum core that sat in the center of a white room. It was a piece of art and a weapon, a machine that could predict price moves microseconds before news was released. Jed explained that the engine wasn't just crunching numbers, it was tapping into a hidden simulation, a feed that seemed to contain tomorrow's news before it happened. "We call it the news shadow," Jade said. "It runs on a quantum lattice that mirrors reality and the possible futures." Lena stared, the room's glow reflecting in her eyes. Jade's voice carried a mixture of awe and unease. "People are scared of this power," she admitted. "We're not sure how much we should let it do." Lena spent nights hunched over her laptop following Jade's notes. She watched charts light up with profit streams that seemed almost too easy. A small, calculated trade turned her coffee shop earnings into a modest savings account balance that felt like a small triumph. She was careful, testing small amounts to keep her actions quiet. The system worked like a whisper, predicting the tiny uptick in a local company stock before a rumor broke in a niche blog. Lena felt a rush of excitement. She was a part of a secret that could change her life. One evening, Jade slipped Lena a paper that bore the mark of a lost economist from the 1920s, someone who had written about the simulation theory of markets. The paper described an old model that suggested markets were not purely random, but were influenced by unseen variables that could be predicted if one had the right perspective. Jade's eyes widened. "What if the engine is like that?" she whispered. "It's seeing the hidden threads that weave into the market before they surface." Lena felt her pulse quicken. The line between curiosity and danger blurred. She imagined the world if everyone had this knowledge. Would markets stay fair, or would a few with the power rule all? One morning, as Lena reviewed the engine's predictions for a major currency pair, she noticed an oddity. The system was suggesting a trade that would profit massively if the USD fell against the euro by a fraction of a percent before the official release of a trade or policy announcement. The algorithm's confidence was high, the numbers clean, yet Lena sensed something wrong, a pattern that seemed too precise. She looked deeper into the feed and saw a faint shadow of a different news headline. Central bank announces unprecedented interest rate cut. That headline didn't yet exist, and the market wasn't poised to react. The engine was acting on information that didn't come from any known source. The possibility that the engine was reading beyond the news, perhaps into an unknown simulation, sent a chill down her spine. That night, she dreamed of a dark figure in a room that flickered like a circuit board. In the dream, the figure whispered, "We can choose what the world sees." Lena woke up with the weight of the dream heavy. She realized that the engine's predictions were being used by an unknown entity, someone or something that could manipulate currency rates for profit. The consequences were beyond a single trader's gain. Nations could be destabilized, markets could crash, and ordinary people could lose livelihoods. She felt her conscience stir, a tug between personal gain and global responsibility. Jade too sensed a shift. She confided that her mentor, an older mathematician who had vanished years ago, had left a message warning against the engine. "It's a mirror," he had said, "reflecting what we create, but also what we fear." He had spoken of a hidden simulation that could be used to predict, but also to control. The message ended with a single line. "When you see tomorrow before it comes, remember that the future is a choice, not a chain." Jade's eyes were filled with a mixture of hope and dread. The next day, Lena faced a decision that would define her life. She could let the engine continue, allowing her to grow richer and more powerful. The hedge fund's reputation would soar, and the market would be a playground for the few. Or she could shut it down, risking the fund's stability, her own future, and the public's trust in financial systems. She imagined the ripple effect. If the engine was shut, perhaps the market would stabilize, but she also feared the unknown entity might find another way to exploit the simulation. She had to weigh her own survival against a larger, unknowable risk. Her choice came at an unexpected hour. Maya's office was silent, the fluorescent lights buzzing softly. Lena found the quantum portfolio engine's console, the screen glowing faintly. The system pulsed, the quantum core humming. She stared at the options on the screen. Deactivate engine, or maintain operations. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard, trembling. She thought of the coffee shop, of the student loans, of the promise that had drawn her in. She also thought of the millions of people whose lives could be affected by a sudden market crash. The world was fragile, and the engine's power was a knife that could cut deep. In a moment of clarity, she pressed the deactivate engine button. The humming stopped, the lights dimmed. The room fell into a quiet that felt like a sigh. The system fell silent. Outside, the city's heartbeat pulsed, unaware of the choice that had just been made. Maya appeared, her face calm, her eyes reflecting a mix of relief and worry. "You did the right thing," she said softly. "The market is a living thing. We can't play God." Lena nodded, her chest heaving. The decision had been made. She had chosen the greater good over personal gain. But she knew that the unknown entity had not yet been stopped. It was like a shadow that could move into any new machine, any new algorithm. The world would never be the same. Months later, the news came out. A sudden dip in the euro caused a ripple across global markets. Analysts speculated, but no one could find the cause. In the quiet of her apartment, Lena watched the news feed, seeing the headlines unfold. The quantum portfolio engine was shut down, but the hidden simulation continued to exist, an invisible thread connecting future and present. She wondered whether her decision had saved the world or merely delayed a new threat. The story ended with a lingering thought. Power, whether hidden or visible, was a double-edged sword. Knowledge could heal or harm, lift or bind. And for those who walked the thin line between curiosity and responsibility, the future was always a choice, not a chain, but a mirror of the intentions we carry inside.
Found this interesting? Subscribe to the channel. Give this video a like, share it out, and drop your questions or ideas in the comments. Until our next adventure.